So, but there's a lot of detail in the report, and that's how we go back to the insurance companies and say, no, you missed this, you've gotta do this, we didn't see this, you know, we've got this detailed list, and we have pictures to back everything up for the contents inventory. You wanna see something from the pages, and in our notes on the side, it shows exactly what was in the bedroom. And what, you know, we'll go bedroom, we'll go room by room and through the thing, we price everything for you, we depreciate it, and present it on behalf, because some of the carriers these days will even go back to the homeowner and say, well, you've gotta tell me what your contents were so that you can get paid for it. They'll make the homeowner go back and do the homework and produce a list like that. So that's part of the, you know, why you wanna hire a public adjuster, is to make sure they do the detail work and they get everything. You don't miss anything when it comes to the building or to the contents.
What percentage of your people are already prepared with an inventory of their house?
Zero.
Zero.
I can tell
That's what I
you,
figured.
I don't think I've ever had one person, I've been doing this almost 10 years, has come to me with, we all talk about video on our house or taking pictures of our contents, or whatever. People talk about it, but I haven't had one come to me in the almost 10 years I've been doing this. I'd say, oh, I've got that on video, oh, I've got that stored. No, we've got to figure out what it is in the burnt pile over there in the corner. You know, that was their bedroom and that was all their dresser. All right, let's kind of pull it apart and see what's in there and see what we can come up with. And that's why, you know, I show you this list, because it takes hours and hours for us to put together a list of the contents and what it all is, and then it takes hours to price it all. You sit there with two screens, one is on the picture of the item, and the other one is you're searching the internet, Google Shopping or one of them, or Amazon or whatever, trying to find the price for that item. And then put some sort of price to it, put the whole list together, and like I said, then the carrier requires it to be depreciated. So then we have to figure out about how old everything is. And that's the one thing I tell my customers is, I can restore what you're, build up a list of what you had, but I have no idea how old it is. So you've gotta age it. You've gotta tell me how old this stuff was, because I don't know.
And that determines the price.
Well, it determines the depreciation, or appreciation if it's a collectible. But then collectibles have to be listed typically separate on a list of items that you've declared to the carrier that these are collectible.
Last time I saw you, it was just after the LA fires. Is your team, your team go out there and start working in California, or do you have to be licensed in the state that you're operating in?
No, just like a realtor, we have to be licensed in our state. So I currently have a license in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland. I'm licensed in those states. Because a lot of them are reciprocal with New Jersey's license. New York, however, is not, so it's tough for me to get licensed in New York. I have to do a 40-hour course in the state of New York to get New York. California apparently is also very difficult. We are licensed in Florida, Texas, most of the Gulf states. And then some states will grant temporary licenses for 90 days, 180 days, when there is a catastrophe like that. But we chose not to do it this time with California.
Hey Art,
Yes.
how often does the insurance company just settle with you, and how often do you have to end up taking them to court?
Not very often. We go to what's called appraisal first, where an appraisal basically means that we didn't agree on the value of the loss, and we both present our side of the story to an appraiser, who then makes a binding decision at the end. So we go to appraisal, but even appraisal is probably 10% or less of our claims. And then I had one court case recently that we did just win, and it was on a roof over in Seaside that kind of blew off, and they were trying to argue that it was an old roof, we didn't, they didn't owe for it. And we did hire an attorney in that case, and the attorney was successful in getting that building owner, it was a commercial building on the boardwalk, and got them probably $200,000 in the end, where we started out with a denial.
Is it Exactimate that you use? And
We do for the building, yep.
kind of, fairly, kind of, do you agree with like what it spits out as being like realistic for actually covering the cost of those things?
I would say yes, about 80% of the time. I would say we were going through COVID and prices were going so fast up. I don't know if Exactimate kept up as well as it could have. But yeah, today in a more normal environment, I think Exactimate does a good job of updating their pricing every month by the market. You pick the pricing for Ocean County when I pick the pricing. It's not just overall pricing. Now, everyone argues that Long Beach Island is more expensive than anywhere in Ocean County. So maybe the pricing isn't the best for Long Beach Island, but it's pretty good, Exactimate.
That's kind
Yeah,
of
that's the industry standard.
yeah.
But when we do the contents, we do that ourselves just on an Excel spreadsheet. That's just an Excel spreadsheet. And a lot of time.
Do you need receipts?
No, you need receipts once you go replace the item. Cause the depreciation we talked about before, what happens is, let's say, I don't know, you go buy a table, right? And that table's worth $100. The insurance company's gonna give you $80 now, they're gonna depreciate it $20. And then when you go buy that table, when you move back into your house, you'll get the other $20 for that table. And that's the withheld depreciation. But you have to go replace that item to get that withheld depreciation part of the claim. RCV versus ACV, whatever you get into all that, yes. You have to go buy the item and that's when they'll pay you the rest of the money.
Are there any insurance companies that you deal with that are better than others to deal with?
I don't think it's as much the company as it is the personnel you work with. Some people are great to work with, and some people are just more difficult. You know, some people you think they're writing the check out of their checkbook, you know, and some adjusters are great. They're like, hey, Art, whatever you need, let's make this work, let's, you know, get everyone happy and back going. It really depends, and that's why we need these tools to go back and argue and show why we feel that this is what this loss is worth. You know, and that's where that's where we're worth our money, I think. Every penny that you pay to us, you know, we're gonna make sure that you get what you deserve.
How do we pay you?
So we get paid at the end. So, you know, pick a number, say it's a $100,000 claim, 10%. When you get your check for $100,000, you owe us the percentage, 10%.
I just want a testimonial. About 15 years ago, had a really nasty water claim in my finished basement. The hot water heater decided to drain all night long, about 4 inches of water with the carpeting and the walls and all that. The insurance adjusters came in and offered about, after about 2 hours, offered about $9,000. I said, well, let me go through some things and get back to you. I called Les, he came over and everybody went through, ServPro came over, and after all was said and done, it was repaired, dried out, all redone. I got $22,600.
Big.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Yes.
Any thoughts on what people might not have in their home insurance policy that they should?
But we were just, somebody said before about jewelry and valuables and things like that. That's important. The riders for those, for your, you know, whether it's your engagement ring, you've got, you know, an antique baseball or baseball cards or something that you think is valuable. Making sure you have riders on your homeowners for that stuff, that's probably the most important. The everyday stuff, the chairs, the tables, or whatever, you know, that's covered, but a lot of people don't think about the collectibles that they have in their house and getting separate riders for those. So I would think that, in my mind, would be the most important, jewelry or collectibles or things like that.
Now, why wouldn't that just be covered in that's part of the contents? Like, is there
It's
certain-
not, because it is a collectible, it's a valuable, you have to have a separate rider. Typically has to be appraised, so they know what the value is, so there's not a lot of argument when, God forbid, that, you know, item is destroyed or something. You wanna make sure that they know it and it's covered. Good for you, that's great.
All right.
Anybody have any other questions?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you.
All right, Art.